So hi, I'm here with Adam from Rocksteady, and we're going to talk about Batman Arkham City today.
Yep.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about the game? It's obviously the sequel to the very well-received Batman Arkham Asylum.
Okay, so the game is massive for starters. We spent a lot of time on every single aspect of Batman Arkham Asylum. We really wanted to kind of recreate that same kind of flavour, that you had in the first game. So one of the big things we've done is the kind of like sort of exemplified the combat system. Now we didn't really want to change and tamper with the system too much because it's that kind of easy to learn, hard to master kind of approach to get to kind of combat, and it flows so nicely. So one thing we did straight up was to double the number of animations that are in that combat system. So you can now you can now counter up to 3 guys simultaneously if you're tapping the counter button. Sure. For those guys who are kind of familiar with the previous game, so you can do that, and Batman or Catwoman or Robin even actually will also do like a nice move to finish those guys off. We've got environmental counters, so if you're near a wall, you slam a guy's face into it, or on a railing. But the big thing we changed with the combat system was adding quick gadget to the combo, if you like. Oh, yeah. So you can now fire a grapple and like pull the guy in and clothesline him. You can lay a quick gel on the floor and detonate it later when there's more guys around there. You can fire REC, which is the remote electrical charge, which is kind of like a stun effect, and that has different effects on different people. Like thugs, it just kind of stuns them. Guys with guns, they're fire in the air. And if you're in a predator situation, other thugs around will kind of cower because obviously the guy's like firing his gun. So that's something we did with the combat, but we really wanted to make Batman Arkham City this massive, sprawling kind of city, really dirty, gritty city. We didn't just want to make this big, though. We want to make it detailed. That's important, and we've nailed it. Again, we're using the Unreal Engine, and we've really kind of, I guess the life cycle of the consoles is kind of a little bit further on now, so we've really kind of tried to sort of squeeze as much out of it as possible. So we're really happy with the results, and everyone here who's been playing it seems to be as well.
Yeah, I had a quick go earlier, and it's fantastic. Obviously, you've gone from quite this claustrophobic atmosphere that you had in the Asylum, where it was all very tight corridors and that kind of thing. You didn't know what was coming next, so this more expansive thing. I mean, was that a natural progression for you guys?
I mean, I think one of the things is when you're playing Arkham Asylum and you're going through these corridors, but when you get out into the expanse, it's always quite fun. And there wasn't really much scope in that game or in that setting to have a real kind of gliding experience. And one of the things I maybe should have touched upon before when you asked me about what's kind of new in the game is the gliding system. So we spent a long time with that. I actually was one of the guys animating the gliding system and the cape as well. So I worked closely with the gameplay animator Adam Vincent, and we kind of developed this kind of like the gliding system, and it's the agility of Batman. So we really wanted to make this kind of like wide, and like the verticality is really important as well. So having like these kind of towering kind of kind of quite gothic buildings, interestingly, it's actually quite claustrophobic from a point of view of walking. Yeah. So when you are walking and you're looking up, you see these kind of buildings and they're all kind of like sort of really grimy, but when you're actually flying, there's this kind of graceful movement that you have, and I guess it was a natural progression. Really, we really wanted to kind of up our game with it, and making Batman glide like he does now was really important. So yeah.
I mean, you're right. The buildings definitely looks like the Gotham that everyone sort of knows.
Yeah.
You've gone for this brilliant Gothic look, and it works really well from what I've seen so far. With this kind of the gliding system and the more expansive world, you've also put secondary missions into the game as well.
So there's quite a few in there.
I saw it clocked at maybe even 15 hours or so of secondary content, which is absolutely huge. I mean, you guys are going for this 40 hours or so of gameplay, which for anything that's not an RPG is absolutely massive, realistically. And one of the things I felt with Arkham Asylum was it was brilliant, but it was fairly short at the end of the day. I mean, it didn't feel terribly like, this feels like nothing's happened, but it was a game I managed to play through in partly because I was just addicted to it. In about 2 nights, just sat there and played it. But with this more open world, are you going to have these side missions there available at any time, or is it just sort of contextual, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I think one of the things about the first game was that you had this kind of narrative that was so kind of driving.
Very tight.
A lot of people didn't really put the controller down, so they were doing like 5 hours straight, and that's why people kind of like felt like they kind of got through the content quite quickly. We've got 40 hours total if you want to get 100% of the game. That's including 400 plus Riddler trophies in the overworld. We've got all these side missions, and then on top of that, at the end of the day, you've still got all the combat rooms and the Silent Predator rooms as well, which is, you can upload your score to the leaderboards and like challenge your friends and stuff. So the side missions themselves, you will come across them, and it's quite natural actually, because you'll find yourself like sort of moving from A to B. You'll be like, okay, I need to head over here and investigate this sort of situation. As you're going over, you'll kind of, something will catch your eye and you're like, oh, what's this? Go over and look at it. Something else will happen, or there might be a situation that occurs en route, or there's a lot of side quests here in the game, and they're always trying to vie for your attention. And often when you're playing through the game, it's like, oh, what's this? And we've been doing a lot of playthroughs in the studio recently, and me for one, I'm always getting sidetracked. They say, oh, can you just do a playthrough of the main story? And I'm always getting sidetracked with these side stories. So there's tons and tons and tons in the game. There really is.
I mean, you're sort of saying they pop out as you go through. So is it very free roamy kind of the travel?
Yeah, I mean the overworld is accessible, like all of it, essentially from the get-go. You'll come across areas where you can't quite access them, and those will be through lack of gadgets, or you'll need, because we've still got the XP system that we had in the first game, so you'll be using that to upgrade gadgets or buy new things.
So more naturally locked off areas.
Yeah, exactly, and it's more of a kind of, you'll come across a Riddler trophy and you'll be like, I don't quite know how to get that, and it'll kind of be a bit of a brain teaser, and you'll kind of, you'll log it in your head and you'll think, oh, at some point I'll have to come back to that, and then, 3 hours down the line you'll have a gadget that's unlocked, or you'll have an ability and go, that's it, that's exactly what I need to do, and then you'll kind of, you'll sort of like make your way back there, and you'll unlock it, so it's like I say, it's quite natural.
And one of the things I loved in Asylum, though it was quite a small touch, was just having the Batcave underneath the island.
Right.
Are we going to see more of that sort of thing in Arkham City?
No, there's no Batcave in Arkham City. No.
Fair enough. It's such a huge environment it was such a little thing in the Asylum as well.
I mean, the E3 demo, this demo that we've got here, it doesn't show you. Probably half of the game world that you've actually got there, so there's a lot to discover, and like I say, it really is a detailed world. It's not like these kind of empty expanses where nothing's happening. It's not these just kind of fields of the kind of these kind of gothic areas are really kind of like nooks and crannies that you'll kind of get sort of involved with, so there's a lot to discover basically.
And obviously you've got in the background we're seeing Catwoman here, and you brought her into the game with her own missions as well. I mean, was that like an obvious choice for you guys to have this a new character to play as and have her own missions to play through?
Well, she's one of those characters that there's a lot of history with her, and there's kind of a bit of a history between her and Batman as well, and it's quite a nice dynamic relationship with that. From a combat side, and because I'm an animator, it's always interesting to be able to animate a different sort of combat style, and she's got an absolutely unique sort of combat sort of sensibility, if you like. She's doing all these moves that are very different to Batman. She feels very different. She's a lot more agile. She's quick. She's nippy. She's like dotting around the place. So it was nice to put in a new character that would be a kind of a different kind of flavour, if you like, to play.
And obviously Robin features as well. Is he only challenge rooms, or are we going to see him in the main story at any point?
No, I'm afraid he's only challenge rooms, but he's a great playable character as well. So the Silent Predator rooms and also the combat rooms, and he's going to be good fun for people to get their hands on.
All right, Adam, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We've been talking down about Batman Arkham City here at EGX. This is TSA AGX, and we're back with more interviews later on.